We deliver this live on Zoom, and up to 100 people are watching us live here in the sessions every time. And by the way, if you ever come in and you're like person number 101 or 102, you can't get into it live, you can go onto my YouTube channel and you can watch it from there. So the good thing is we won't ever like completely exclude you, but if you want to be someone who's watching this live, I would say get here early rather than later. Some months we get a little bit more people than others, and I wouldn't want to have you miss out on that experience of joining us live. So the YouTube channel is up and running in the background, and I'm going to drop the link into the chat right now. Where do I go here? Let's see. I click on Where's the share link? I'm just going to grab it from above. So this is the video for today. And then there's also a playlist. And I'll grab that in just a few moments and I'll put the playlist if you want to watch past calls in here as well. So the way that this works is it's delivered live on Zoom and simultaneously it's broadcast live on YouTube. The link that I just gave you is the same link that you can watch it live on YouTube right now, or you can watch the playback on YouTube later. So the recording is instantly available as we're delivering it live. And then if you come in after the call is over, you can rewatch it and you can fast forward and do all that funny stuff to it. So that's how that YouTube works. If that answers your question, Trisha, let me know. And if you're not video on, we cannot see you. So I have it enabled where if your video panel is not showing, your name doesn't show in there as well. Okay, so hopefully that helps out. I want to say good morning and welcome to all of you. I am delighted that you are here. You may not be happy that you're here, and I know that, but I want to make you happy while you are here. And you might not be happy that you're here because it means that you're in career transition, unemployed, underemployed, made redundant, all these fancy corporate words, right? That make them feel better about the situation. But gosh, it's rough for you. And I've been through it myself several times in my career. And the last time I said, you know what, I'm going back. I think I'm going to start my own, my own now. And I love where I'm at today. But my name is Brenda Meller, and I am your host for today. And I'm delighted to welcome all of you into the call here today. I'm going to look at the meeting list real quick because I want to say hello and good morning to all of you. We have our all-stars joining us, Kenneth Lang, Linda Brubaker, Mindy Stern, Sue Griffey. If I see any others, I'll tag you as well and make you a co-host. If I could ask those individuals to do the raise hand in Zoom, because we'll call on you in just a moment and have you do your introductions, and that will help me to find you in the video panel. That would be awesome. I also want to say good morning and welcome to all of our participants. We have, oops, Joey's in here too. Joey, let me make you a co-host as well. Okay. Let's see, we have Ayn, Andre, Amy, and I apologize for any mispronunciations. Bear with me here. Andrea, Carolyn, nice to see you again. David B, David M, and David S. We've got a Club David today. Debbie, Eileen, Elena, Ellen, Jennifer, Joan, nice to see you again. Joyce, Julie, Katie, Lisa, Melissa G, Melissa W. We've got Molly, Nancy, Pat, Sandra, nice to see you. Scott M, Scott B, Scott S, and Scott V. We've got 4 Scotts in the Club Scott today on the call. Good morning to Stan, Stephanie, Tamara or Tamara, I'm not sure. Tammy, Trisha, Vanessa, Victor, and Wendy. I am delighted that you are all here today, and we're going to have a fun hour here. We may go just a few minutes over 11 today, but we typically do stay to about 60 minutes. So the way that this will work today is we're going to start with introductions by myself and by our all-stars. And the all-stars are people who are career strategists, coaches, resume writers, career coaches in other areas, LinkedIn coaches. And I've tapped them and I said, you're an all-star. You need to come and help me on my Friday VIP office hours to answer questions. So they will be here for all of you. And because they are volunteering their time, I like to ask them to give their introduction. In your introduction, I want my all-stars to remember to summarize what do you do and who do you help. And if you have any upcoming events or offers, feel free to tell us about them. Don't be shy. And do include a mention of any services that you charge for, because you are here donating your time month after month. And there might be somebody who is willing to pay for your services who would be eager to work with you. So don't be shy about that and drop any of your links inside the chat. And then I will also ask our audience, for those that are joining us, if you all could go into the chat and introduce yourself as well. And what I want you to do And I'm going to type an example of this in here right now. If you're a job seeker, I want you to introduce yourself in the chat. You don't need to say, hi, this is Brenda Meller, because Zoom says Brenda Meller to everyone. Okay. So just get to the point. Your targeted job title, your targeted geographic area, where in the world are you located and looking for work, and then put your LinkedIn URL, but include the full address, including the HTTPS. You might need to open up your LinkedIn to grab that. Navigate to your profile, and then it's in the top address bar. We don't need to see the life story because it's going to take up a lot in the chat. So just targeted job title, just like Elena just did. Targeted job title, targeted geographic area, and your LinkedIn URL that's inside there. Make sure you include the HTTPS. Paul, you didn't do so, and now we can't click on it. Okay, so add it in again with the HTTPS because it makes it easy for people to click on it. And we can navigate and go to your profile as we're inside here. All right. So I think that's it for introductions. What I do for a living is I help people to unlock the power of LinkedIn, and I do so through one-on-one coaching. You can work with me one-on-one in a power hour. I also have a couple of online programs, one of which is called Bootcamp with Brenda, which is self-guided. I have several bootcamp members that are with us here today. And in the bootcamp program, I walk you through everything A to Z that will help you to optimize your LinkedIn profile and get more out of LinkedIn to support a successful job search, especially if you are experience rich. I'll include that link in the chat in just a moment. And I am your host for today. So we're going to kick this off, and I'm going to pull up 2 all-stars at a time, and you're just going to go and give your introduction, and we'll go in order on screen here. So we're going to pull up Sue, and then followed by Sue will be Mindy.
Thanks, Brenda. Brenda, I texted Christopher on his phone and haven't seen anything yet, just FYI. So something interrupted his plans. I'm Sue Griffey. I'm known as Sue Mentors in the virtual world. I've worked virtually for over a decade and a half as a mentor. Many of you, unfortunately, I keep seeing you back here, know me. I'm the mentor with pom-poms. I celebrate everything, big wins, small wins, and even things like rejection letters that we don't think are wins. What I do is help people globally with professional presence. You all know it better as personal branding and personal presence, but in the global world, we're still focused on professional presence. I have a free course. Some of you have started or taken it with me, and I appreciate the efforts. So let me know if I can help you. I'm known for 2 things: excavating your evidence and not networking, but engaging are the 2 talks I'm most often asked to give. So I'm also happy I just provided someone, Linda, from the other day, someone who wanted some metrics. I gave her the YouTube that I did for Mindy. So thank you, Mindy, for making that available. And I'll pass it on to Mindy now.
Thanks, Sue. Great to see you today. And I am so excited to be with you guys. I know that you'd rather be out at the beach or something else, but I just want to let you know that you have so many resources on this call, and you do not need to do this yourself. I help job seekers be seen, be heard, and be hired. And we do that in any number of ways. One of the things that I'm so excited to tell you about is that I host a call every month with some wonderful new speaker that you may not have known about before. In September, Liam Darmoody is going to start talking about your brand and how to be seen and visible on this huge platform that is known as LinkedIn. We have over 1 billion, that's a B with a B, billion with a B, people on this platform. And so in order to be seen and heard, you need to be visible. And that's what we talk about. And so I'm going to put the link in the chat. You can register right now for a September call and start thinking about who you are, what is unique about your voice, and how can you stand out from the crowd. I'm going to pass it over to Linda, and I'm going to share that link with you, and I hope to see you there.
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I'm a career coach too. And what I do is that I work with job seekers of all ages and at all stages of their career. So whether you're just starting out or whether you're trying to get back into the job market or change careers or companies, I'm the person that you can work with. My specialty is helping you build on the skills that you have, rediscovering what they are, and finding out how to leverage them to get that next forever job that you're really looking for. I do that by building on over 20 years of experience in HR and recruiting. So I work with people, giving them insights from all sides of that recruiting desk. And I'm happy to work with all of you. Do it with one-on-one coaching, but I also have a weekly free job seeker support call. I call it Job Search Lunch and Learn. You are welcome to join us. This next week, we're actually doing an Ask Us Anything kind of question and answer. So bring your job search questions and join us, and I will put the link in the chat. I'm happy to support all of you. I'm going to turn it over to Joey.
Thank you, Linda. Good morning, all. My name is Joey Himmelfarb. I am an author and a speaker. I speak on the subject of helping job seekers sell themselves. As a retired salesperson for 25 plus years, I've had my share of rejections and successes. And so I take what I've learned about the science of selling as well as the art of selling and translate that to the job market for job seekers. The book I wrote about that is exactly what that's about. And I'm writing a follow-up to it as we speak. As a true blue New Yorker, I'll be in your face today when I hear you going down a rat hole. Because since we sell every day, we need to be positive and upbeat. And that is my mantra: positive beats negative every day. So I'm looking for positiveness and a happy energy from everybody. And if I don't see it, I may chime in and try to bring it back. Diana, up to you.
Would help to unmute. Thank you, Joy. I'm Diana Stevens, and I am the founder of Mindful Job Alignment. And what I do is I help job seekers form an action plan for their job search, which deals with both the internal and the external aspects of job search. And by internal, I mean stress and anxiety around the job search, as well as external, which are the traditional job search steps, of tactical steps of resume, LinkedIn, all those things, and putting together an action plan. I really help take you from stressed and confused to motivated and in control of your job search. So I'm going to be putting my information in the chat, and I ask you to do three things. Number one is connect with me on my personal profile. Number two, you'll have the link for my business profile. Follow Mindful Job Alignment on LinkedIn. And then number three, go to my website, mindfuljobalignment.com, where you can sign up for my top 10 tips to do when you're downsized, as well as some supportive reading resources, as well as a free ebook on mindfulness meditation. And I promise you that I won't be spamming you with a million emails. What I hope to do is to give informational, good, helpful tips to help you on your job search. And please feel free to reach out. I have a calendar link in my website. You can sign up for a complimentary discovery call. I look forward to meeting all of you and helping you land as quickly as possible. I've been there. I know how it feels. And I'll hand it off to Kenneth.
Hello, Adam. Hello, everyone. Kenneth Lang here from Wayne, New Jersey. Like everyone here, I've been in and out of transition, so I totally get it, and I'm here to support Brenda any way that I can. I'm working at Leac Harrison now as a brand specialist, and we have a lot of challenges there with the people that are out of work. I was recently given additional responsibilities there. We created a LinkedIn lounge so that we can all talk about best practices amongst all the people there. And the biggest challenge that I see out there is that there's so much information. Some of it is not relevant. Some of it is just like all over the place. Networking is the key. In the next week or so, I'm going to be going. We have our in-person events coming up soon. I'm going to be going to a couple of events in town. But if you're in the New York City area, September 13th, a bunch of us are meeting in New York City. We did this last year. We're going to do it again. We're hoping to get a tour of LinkedIn headquarters again. There is nothing better than LinkedIn in-person events and getting together with people. I've come to know so many people here. I wish I could see all of you in person. I see Paul is next to me now. I've cut a lot of my events off for the summer just to decompress because I'm going through four years of content to do podcasts. That has been a labor of love and frustration to some extent, but that is kind of my next vision, is to do podcast, because that's something, as a LinkedIn introvert no more, I have to do that. It's the least I can do. But I wish everyone here the best of luck and success. We are here to support each other. And Paul is one of my fellow networking contacts from Northern New Jersey. I am so happy to have you on the call. Paul, take it away. And Brenda, thank you so much for bringing us all together.
Thanks, Ken. It's great to be here, and thank you for turning me on to Brenda, who's doing such amazing stuff. So I'm glad to be counted among the professionals. As a career coach, I specialize in project planning your job search. I'm very practical, tactical, and pragmatic in my approach. I just wrote a book that was the #1 bestseller on Amazon, and it's filled with 20 worksheets on how to conduct your job search. So it takes you from start to finish, step by step. What do I need to do? I also facilitate several job seeker networking and support groups. One that I'd like to share with you all today is the Executives in Job Transition, which meets the third Monday of each month from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. I put the link in the chat. All I ask is that you not share that link publicly, but we'd love to have you or anybody you know who's interested in their job search to come join us. What's different about that particular group and why I chose it is it's not a speakers group. Everybody on the call will get 10 minutes where you're in the spotlight. And during that 10 minutes, you get to give us your introduction, a little bit about what's going on in your job search, and pose a question. What is the thing that's most holding you back from success in your job search? And then the remainder of your 10 minutes time is everybody contributing to helping you find my mind just went blank because I read a chat. The remainder of your time is brainstorming, everybody brainstorming to find the way to solve your problem. People love it. They absolutely feel great about that. So I'm glad to be here. I see Ken's hand is up next, but Ken, you just went, so I don't know if it's back to you or someone else. Thanks.
That left over. That was a residual hand raise. So we'll,
Yes, I forgot to drop it. Sorry.
okay, no problem at all. All right. So when Paul just mentioned his book, congratulations, by the way, Paul, it just gave me a little inspiration. And I want to have you guys sharing your favorite books for your job search into the chat. So if you've read a book that's been really helpful for you, drop it inside the chat. I've got the book right here. You notice that? It's very strategically staged in my background. My book is called Social Media Pie, How to Enjoy a Bigger Slice of LinkedIn. I dropped my link into chat. It's available on Amazon. I know there's others on the call that have books. Joey's got a really good book. If I can find it, Joey, I would hold it up right now, but I'm not sure where it's at. It's Don't Paint Your Kitchen, I believe is the title. So there's others that have books as well. And I know all of you in the job seeking community, you've probably read some really great books. So feel free to drop those inside of chat and let's share those resources with each other. All right, so now after we do our introductions, we're going to move into Q&A, success stories, and we'll kind of use this time how you would like to use this time. What I want to invite you to do is if you have a question, I want you to type the word question in all caps in chat, Question, and then write the question out. After you've done so, I want you to find your Zoom menu where you can see the raise hand and then click on raise hand. So you get this little symbol. Where's it at? Right here. So that way I know that you have a question because chat's going to be pretty busy as we're going throughout here. So type in your question and then click on raise hand and I'll call on you and you can unmute yourself and then we can help you with your question. So a question might be, I'm feeling stuck in my job search. I'm applied to 100 positions and I'm not hearing anything back. That might be a question. Or it might be, I'm in the process of interviewing and it doesn't seem like they're going to negotiate. Do I need to take a pay cut? That might be a question. Or it might be, I'm just feeling stuck, installed in my job search and I'm running out of ideas. What do I do? So whatever your questions are, let's help you. Let's all help you together. And I want to encourage you to drop your question into chat. Don't be shy about this. Maybe it's a LinkedIn question. Should I put open to work on my profile or not? That green badge that goes around your headshot photo, like type that in, raise your hand. And if you're camera shy, you can just, when I call on you, just say, I don't want to talk, and or just type into chat. I don't want to talk, but here's my question. We want to be able to help you, and this helps to keep the call where it's not just us talking, but it's also you, right? We want to be able to help you. It's the purpose for these calls. All right. With that said, I see Sandra has raised her hand. Thank you so much, Sandra, for doing that. I'm going to bring you on to the virtual LinkedIn stage, or the Zoom stage, I should say, with me. And I don't see your question, but I'm scrolling up and down. Oh, here it is. Okay. So you've gone through the verified process to get the badge, and it's still absent from your profile. I followed your advice and submitted a help ticket 3 months ago, and there's been zero reply. What do I do next? So first and foremost, Sandra, I want to look from my end at your profile and see if I can see it on your profile. So give me just a second to do so, and I'll ask others as well. Sandra, could you drop your LinkedIn URL into chat again? And I'll ask everyone else on the call to look up your LinkedIn profile and see if they can see the verified badge on your profile. And we'll troubleshoot this a bit together. If we're not seeing it, you know you've submitted it. And part of me thinks maybe you can't see it, but everyone else can. The other part of me is thinking if you've submitted it and you're still, does it still show you? No, it shows it on mine. Okay, let me show you this on screen. I'm going to pull the profile up. I was just buying some time. Did you guys know that? I was kind of vamping and trying to figure it out. And I like to talk as I'm doing things so there's no dead air ever. So Sandra, what's this? Right next to your profile, I'm seeing the gray check mark.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
So from your view, look in your name field. Are you seeing that tiny gray shield with the gray check mark inside it from your
You know
view?
what? It just, that wasn't there yesterday.
I believe you.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing this up, Sandra. You're probably not the only person who has questions about why it's not appearing on your profile or even like what the verification process is. So if it's okay with you, I will just kind of pivot us to talking about whether or not you should verify. Did we get your question answered though? Because it looks like it's on there now, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So you all may have noticed that when you go to LinkedIn, and I'm going to go to my profile right now. I think I ended up setting it up finally on my profile, but I was like for a while I'm like I didn't really see the value in doing so. I did put it on mine eventually because it kept prompting me and I wanted to see what the process is like. But you may notice at the top of your profile it will say get verified on LinkedIn, and if you click on the little question mark, LinkedIn says verified members get like 30% more views or some, I don't remember the percentage. Kenneth, does that sound about right? Like 30% more views, something. They make up some arbitrary number, 30% more views. So here's what's happening is there's a lot of fake accounts essentially that are being created on the platform, and AI generated photos and a mishmash of information. Sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. They may actually look like a real person and everything on their profile looks pretty accurate. Sometimes the photos feel a little bit off. Like I've noticed this with the ladies, especially the AI generated photos. You'll see, I'm going to pull my hair back. So you'll see one of their ears exposed with an earring and the other one's like hidden. So you can't see it. And I don't know what it is. Like the computer can't generate two of the same ear or what. But sometimes something feels a little off, a little robotic. It's like their eyes are looking at you, but they're both looking slightly out, like something weird is happening. And sometimes these accounts are just, blatantly wrong. They're not real people. You can tell on there. And I don't know why people do this other than creating, a path for doing business with them that, they set up automations, which is a violation of LinkedIn's terms of service. So they shut that account down and they create a new account and they're selling through that account. So the verification badge is to help us as good LinkedIn citizens to know that Sandra is a real live person. So we get that peace of mind when we see the check mark next to her name. Now, on the whole, I kind of feel like the check mark really only helps you if you look like you might be a fake account. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use Mindy Stern, for example. If I go on Mindy's profile right now and I look around, I know Mindy's got a fairly large network, and I'm probably not going to think, is Mindy fake or not? Like she looks like a real person. She's got over 3,000 followers, 500 plus connections. She's got a great headline. When I look in her experience section, there's legitimate looking experiences that make sense, right? Because sometimes you see like one or two on these fake accounts and they don't make sense. They go from administrative assistant to CEO. Like that doesn't make sense. So there's nothing in here that's giving me pause to think about, is this a real account or is this fake? I'm going to look at one more, Christopher Johnson, since he wasn't on the call. and you all should follow him. And those of you who are not connected to him, you should invite him to connect. I'm going to drop his link into chat and tell him I was talking about him on the call today. Could you do that for me? He'll be like really delighted that we were all talking about him. So when I go on his profile, it is verified, but I look at, his picture looks real, calm, clear media, 3,000 followers. He's got some good description in his about statement. He's got a really good LinkedIn trainer, you guys. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a good trainer. And he's got some great information. There's nothing in here that's prompting me to go, is he real or is he fake? Right. So the verification really helps individuals who are newer users to LinkedIn who don't have a large network. Yeah, they might help you, because if you are just getting started and you've got 1 or 2 or 100 connections, people might question, is Paul a real person or is he a fake account? Right. So the verification might help you if you're just getting started and you're just starting to grow your network on LinkedIn. But I kind of feel like for the rest of us, I don't know that it helps us as much as LinkedIn says. The 30% feels a bit artificially inflated. Now, that being said, if you do want to go through the process of getting your profile verified, you do have to upload some type of government issued identification, whether it's a driver's license or a passport. And I don't believe verification is available to everyone everywhere in the world right now. I know it's available in the US. I think it's available now in the UK. I think it's available in Canada, but there's some countries and territories where it's not available. You do have to give information. So whether you feel comfortable giving a government issued picture to LinkedIn or not, that's a personal preference on here. In the US, they use Clear, which is the service that if you go through the airport, there's like the fast lines, like the people with the clipboard trying to get you to sign up for a free trial. That's Clear. So they use Clear to do the verification, and other countries are using other systems. So it doesn't cost any money to be verified. No harm done. Good point, David. It's a personal preference on whether or not you feel comfortable with that. So thank you, Sandra, for asking us the first question. And Sandra says LinkedIn Verified is also available in Canada and uses Clear here too as well. Okay, so let's see. David had a question. David, you said second question suggestion. What was your first question, sir?
I'll put my hand up. The first one is, I notice when I look at myself in my Zoom video, as I'm doing now, I look like I'm tilted to the left this way, but you and everybody else are perfectly straight up.
Okay.
So it kind of bothers me a little bit.
Okay, so we're going to do a Zoom lesson right now. I'm going to pull everybody up in our gallery view. Okay. Now, David, are you watching this on your laptop or
On my
is there?
laptop.
Okay, so first thing is I want you to think about your laptop is probably angled. Where are you at? Okay, so if you angle your laptop, just bring it a little bit towards you to try to make it more parallel to your head. Bring your laptop screen a little bit towards you.
Bring it towards me.
Keep your laptop flat, but bend your screen more towards you.
Oh, my screen. Oh, see, because
Yeah,
my
just
laptop
your
is going to
screen.
go off the table.
Yeah, don't bring, there you go. So now you see how you just came up?
Yeah,
Did
but
you
I'm
notice that?
tilted this way.
Okay, is your
I can't
laptop,
really-
is it on a flat surface? Is it by chance on an angle?
I think it's the flat surface.
Okay.
So it's nothing like settings wise. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
on a flat surface.
The other thing you could do, David, and I wish Christopher Johnson was here because he could probably help us through this, but go to your video icon in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Click on video and then video settings. Now there is a way
video
that you can
settings.
change, like you can do mirror my video, and I'm going to click on mine right now. So this is like actually my left side and this is my right side over here.
Yeah.
But if you look at my book is, you can't read the title of it. So if I deselect mirror my video, this is my left side, but it's actually on the right-hand side of your screen.
Where does it say mirror my video?
So if you go under your video icon at the bottom
Yeah.
and you click on video settings,
Yeah, I did that.
inside video settings, underneath your video panel, you should see, it says camera, and then it says my video. Underneath my video, I see options, mirror my video, touch up my appearance, adjust for low light, portrait lighting. There's a couple options in there. Are you seeing those from your view?
Video settings. I've got general, I've got video, audio, share screen,
So
team
click
chat.
on, when you get in settings, click under video. The second option is video.
Video, okay.
Yep. Okay, and then when you click on video, do you see there's like a menu on the right-hand side and you see a preview of your video with some options underneath it?
No.
What are you seeing when you click on video?
Okay, I see my picture to the right.
Mhm.
Trying to touch up appearance or just a low light.
Yep.
There's camera, HP wide version HD camera.
Okay, so you're not seeing mirror my video as an option, right?
No,
Okay, so I know Christopher Johnson will always tell us, make sure that you have the latest version of Zoom,
I
and you'll
do.
need to go to Zoom, the Zoom app, and check for updates on here.
Okay.
Paul or Joey, do you have any suggestions on what we're talking about right now? Okay, Joey, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's not the technical stuff you're talking about, Brenda. It's more just in general when you're preparing to be on screen, whether it's for a Zoom call or you're having an interview within a prospective employer. You can Google Zoom test meeting, and you can go into Zoom in a test environment, and you can look at not only yourself, whether you're angled or anything, but
Yeah.
you can also check your background, and you can see for things like there's like Brenda has her book set up in a certain way staged.
Ah,
Maybe she did that by accident, or maybe she did it on purpose. But using Zoom test meeting on Google will allow you to, in a friendly, non-hostile environment, set up yourself and your background in
so if I
preparation.
Google Zoom test meeting,
You'll get a link to a
a
test
place
meeting.
where I can just see how everything will be when other people see me.
Exactly.
Cool. Thank you. I'm going to try that.
You're welcome.
Also, Joey, to that point, you could just create a Zoom for yourself, David, like just start a meeting with just yourself in it and set it up.
Right.
Somebody said, is it your posture? Are you leaning a little bit in your chair?
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I find my chair actually tilts on its own. And so I'm constantly having to just shift my body to make sure that I'm not tilting the chair because it's a little wobbly. So
Okay.
there are a lot of different reasons or why that could be happening to you.
Okay,
Also,
I
if you watch
have to
the
really
news,
lean to be
if you watch the news, David, you can see these newscasters how they sit and how they position themselves. And Brenda's talked about this a lot. They look at the camera. They don't look at themselves. They look at the camera. So for the viewers think they're looking at them.
And they usually sit at the edge of their chair because that forces you to sit your back up tall.
like this.
Rather than sitting all the way back in the chair, they'll move forward on the chair and
So
sit.
much more comfortable to sit back in my chair than to be up.
Please, David, then you just got to make sure that your laptop, and I want you all to try this right now, like try to touch your web camera from where you're sitting. You should be able to touch it. Right? If you're not able to touch it, you should bring your camera just a little bit closer to you.
Yeah.
Joey, can you touch your camera from where you're sitting right now?
Yeah.
Paul, can you touch it? Now
I am.
look at and just watch. I'm going to scooch my cell back right now. I can't touch my camera. I'm probably another arm's length away from it right now. Look how small I am inside the frame. Okay. So it's a really easy thing to do, just to be, you should be no more than an arm's width away from your camera. The other thing, and I'm going to pull us up into our gallery view again. I'm actually get a picture of this because I don't have a recent one. Give me just a second. Okay, we're going to do the Zoom salute. Do you guys remember how to do this? People who've been on the call before, I want you to put your hand at the top like you're saluting, but it's like you're flipping it upside down. You should have your hand should be touching the top of your frame. Okay. I want you all to keep this and look at the camera and smile. If you want to be in the picture, look at the camera right now and smile. I'm going to turn off. There's a couple people that are not on camera, so let me just shut them off for a second. Hide non-video participants. Okay. And then on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I got it. So this I'm going to update on our Friday VIP Job Seeker offers landing page. I'll probably do a LinkedIn post at some point next week as well, and I'll tag anyone who was on camera for this. So this is going to show you how much distance you should have between the top of your head and the camera, because you don't want to be sitting like this. Have you seen that happen before? You're on a Zoom call and you're like, why is she so low? And nobody, because you know why? Nobody told her that she needs to be higher and she needs to be at that camera distance level. Another technique, since we're on the topic of Zoom right now, you can see how I'm pretty brightly lit. Now I've actually got a light that I bought off of Amazon. Let me turn my light off and see the difference there. And I bought these LED lights. These are the teenagers put in their bedrooms, you guys. These are pretty inexpensive, like $30 on Amazon. Let me turn that off in the background. So we've got some difference there, right? Now I'm in a room that I have light towards my face right now. So you can see how these minor changes, can you tell how they make a quality impression difference with the lighting? So for those of you, and I'm not gonna pick on you, Andrea, but I'm gonna use Andrea as an example right now, because Andrea, you have a window that is behind you, which makes the whole room kind of cloudy behind you. And our eye is kind of drawn to the white of the window versus your face. So what I would recommend for all of you, if you're in an interviewing situation, I want to encourage you to face the window if you can. You can blur your background, but face the window. Natural lighting is always best as long as it's not making you squint. Second to that would be some type of directional lighting. Scott, one with the 1T, are you using some type of lighting that's being directed towards your face? Because can you guys tell, like, Scott's face is brightly lit. We can see his face, even though he's got a window behind him. Okay, so making sure that the light is pointed towards your face. And my ring light that I have on me right now, when I'm done with the call, I'm gonna turn it off because I cannot work with this thing all day. But it's for this call, it's for all of you. It's for that quality impression. The last thing I want you to think about, and I want you all to touch your camera right now. Tap your camera with your finger. Okay. That is where you should be looking when you are doing interviews and they ask you to answer a question. Now, let's say Amy is asking me a question. I'm looking down at Amy and I'm nodding as she's asking the question. After she's done asking, I look at the camera and I respond to her question. Because when I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at Amy. When I look down at Amy, it looks like I'm checking my email or not paying attention. Like Sue's looking off to the side right now. We're like, what's doing over there? Like, why isn't she looking at us? Right? So when you're interviewing, it's hard. You guys, it's really hard to look at a piece of plastic instead of looking at Eileen's eyes. I want to look at Eileen's eyes. We as human beings, we want to look at human beings. We don't want to look at plastic. It feels weird. And we're like, is somebody looking at me? You got to get practicing doing that. And just keep in mind, when they're asking the question, look at them on screen. When you're responding, you're looking at the camera. And again, I always tap when I say that. It feels weird. You get better with this with more practice. And I want you to keep in mind, when they are trying to make eye contact with you, you have to be making eye contact by looking at that piece of plastic. Okay.
Brenda, if I may, the other thing, we keep talking about practice. Most speakers, when they have to present in a room, they'll go to the room long before they're supposed to be on stage so they can get used to the environment and the surroundings. It's no different from when I'm suggesting you go to a Zoom test meeting, or to your point, Brenda, David, anybody, if you have an interview coming up, get a friend and get on Zoom with them. And then you can go through what Brenda was talking about, is practicing looking at the camera, and let your friend tell you when you're not doing it, because it will make a difference in the interview if you're doing it on Zoom. And it will make a difference with the interviewer if you're making eye contact, looking at the screen. They think you're looking at them. That's what you want. It's not about you. It's about them.
Let me ask, do I look like I'm tilted to you, or is it just me?
You look tilted.
I do look tilted, yeah. That's all.
Yeah, my advice, start drinking heavily.
Or did we figure out why you're leaning that way?
What was that?
Did he freeze? I think.
Brenda froze there. She was asking, are you leaning by any chance in one direction or the other? And do I need to, do you need to change your position so that it doesn't look like you're leaning?
If I lean like uncomfortably over to my left like that, then I'm straight up in the video, but I'm really leaning.
Yeah.
Maybe your desk isn't perpendicular and parallel to the floor. Have you thought about that, David?
I have not thought about that, no.
Okay.
Well, that's my
Possible.
first.
Possible.
All right, Brenda's
I
back.
don't know.
Yay. Brenda's back.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
What can go wrong will go wrong, and you should always be prepared for backup. I've got actually an external hotspot that I purchased for my own home office that I frequently will use. We did have some storms here in Michigan yesterday, and I imagine that they're probably going to clear out tree limbs in different places, and I'm a little worried that if that happened once, it might happen again. When I dropped off, did the call continue? without me? It didn't hiccup for
Yes,
you? Okay.
yes.
So if that happens again, Kenneth or one of the other All-Stars will help to keep the call going. So don't worry about that. Okay. So David, did we get your question answered?
More or less, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. More or less. And then you had a second question. Do you recall what the second question was?
Well, that was about doing a session on job scams, which Linda already answered. She says she's got one in the works.
Awesome. So Linda, when you have that information available, are you posting about it on LinkedIn?
Yes, I will. We're just trying to confirm a date.
Awesome.
So yes, I will get it out there.
Good. And then we'll also share that inside the LinkedIn private unlisted group that I've created. And while I'm on the topic of that, I'm going to put that link into the chat right now. So if you're not a member of this group, it's called Meller Marketing Job Seeker Resources, I believe the name of the group is. And I want to invite you to join that group. And if you ever come across resources that can be helpful for job seekers that are part of this community, feel free to drop the link inside the group. It is a private unlisted group, which means that it will not appear on your profile, and any posts that are inside the group are only visible by group members. So don't worry if you are working but looking that anyone will see what you're posting or that you're a member of the group. It doesn't show anywhere on your profile. And I do really welcome any of you to share any links or resources inside this group. If you hear of job postings and you know there's someone on the call who was looking for a project manager in Iowa and you can't remember their name, like drop it inside the group and say, does anyone remember who it was? Like feel free to drop it in there. Or if you hear of other events, even if they're LinkedIn events, like feel free to drop them inside the group and to help others. When you visit this group link, I will get a note that says you requested to join the group and I will admit you in. And I do that for all of you because I want to keep the wrong people out. Meaning I can tell if they are only there to sell to you, and I recognize your names when you come into the group. And I try to monitor the group activity to make sure that no one is posting things in here that are inappropriate or, unprofessional or scams or things like that too. I don't want this to become a junk group. This is really a good group. And we currently have, let me look at the number of members. I think we're close to 1,000 members inside the group. We're at 954 members. So if you're looking to grow your LinkedIn network, maybe you're under 500 connections. If I were you, I would look at the group members and invite them to connect with you. Build your network with other job seekers as well. And it's a really great way of helping each other in here. Okay. Related to that, and I'll just remind you, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions inside the chat and or raise your hand inside Zoom. You can just raise your hand manually if you can't figure out how to do that raise hand option. While I'm waiting to see if there's any other questions that are coming in, I'll let you know of two things. If you want some quick feedback on your LinkedIn profile today, we can give you some LinkedIn profile feedback. Raise your hand and we'll call on you and some of the All-Stars will help you out with that. Also, I want to remind you, if you're feeling isolated and alone as you're going through your job search, I want to let you know you're not alone. Gosh, on this call alone, we've got over 50 people who are going through the process with you. And I want to encourage you to find an accountability partner inside the group here. And that would be essentially somebody else who is in career transition that you could meet with once a week, maybe by phone, maybe by Zoom, and just say, hey, Scott, how's it going with your job search? What are your goals for this week? And how are things going, right? And just kind of bounce some ideas off of each other. Because when you're in career transition, when you're job seeking, there's no boss standing over your shoulder saying, Brenda, did you apply for 5 jobs this week? Like nobody's, maybe your family is, but having an accountability partner can help you to be accountable to making more progress in your job search. And there's such a great community here. I'd hate to see you wait until next month to get more value out of this great community. Like try to connect with people here. And you can either reach out in chat right now and say, I'm looking for an accountability partner, or you can connect with people inside the group or on LinkedIn and ask them if they'd be open to doing an accountability partner phone call once a week with you. Okay. See if it works. If it doesn't, you can always say, hey, probably not a good fit, but I'll see you on the Friday, right? That's okay too. All right. So
Brenda,
I see
there's a question from Jennifer Brown in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Jennifer, can you unmute yourself? What's your question? Thank you, Joey.
Sure.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so happy I finally get to ask a question. Okay. Um, so, oh, hello. So for the last 15 years, I've been working in brand marketing and consumer marketing roles. I've worked with Walmart, Toyota, Lifetime. My last role in marketing, I was director of marketing at Lifetime Television Network in New York. But I recently moved back home to the Metro Detroit area to take care of my father, who is experiencing some health issues. And so with that, I've been working a part-time retail job while I've been here in Detroit for the last year and a half, taking care of him. My question is actually like two or threefold. One, how do I account for that in this gap in my experience? How do I account for that on my resume and LinkedIn? Because I've been working retail management. It's not necessarily, what, applicable to my career in marketing. And two, how do I put a spin on this so it doesn't look like the last year and a half, 2 years, I just haven't been working in my field? Because what I'm worried about is that recruiters will see, oh, well, she hasn't had a marketing job in the last year and a half, 2 years, and instantly be turned off.
Okay, so we have some questions about how to accurately reflect the role that Jennifer has been doing, which is a bit of an aside from her corporate marketing role. And I want to say, first of all, Jennifer, I think there's probably some talents that you've brought to your retail marketing role as a corporate marketer that are probably knocking their socks off at the retailer. Is that fair to say? Am I onto something there?
Yes.
Okay, so slap yourself first of all, Jennifer. And I'm going to use my little yogurt analogy for you all real quick here. I use this a lot when I talk about experience-rich job seekers. But if I were to hold a bowl out to you, Jennifer, and I say, does this milk smell sour? You're already going in with a scrunched up nose, right? As opposed to if I held the same bowl out to you, but if instead I said, Jennifer, smell this Greek yogurt. Doesn't this smell amazing? And you're going in like, right? So you just said, I worked in retail management, and are they going to look at me like I didn't offer value and it's not in my career path? As opposed to say, I had the opportunity to work in retail management and bring in my corporate marketing talents while also helping a family member. I mean, you did this because of the past 5 years have been kind of wonky. Let's just be honest, right? The job market has been kind of crazy. You're not just sitting around waiting for unemployment to come through or not. You took a job with a good organization in a management role, nonetheless. You didn't just, do a bagger position at your grocery store. You took a retail management role and you brought your corporate marketing expertise into that role. And what I would do if I were you is position that both on your resume and on your LinkedIn, focusing on the areas of marketing and branding that you brought into the role. You don't need to say that you hired workers and you did if that's not relevant, don't put that in there. Instead, ensured brand guidelines were in place when dealing with displays within the store. Like, I'm just making that up. I don't know. I'll start you off there. And I see that we have some of our All-Stars hands are raised. So we'll go first with Sue and then Kenneth and then Joey.
I'm gonna emphasize what Brenda said by answering your question about how to acknowledge the gap. It's not only accepted and recognized now, everybody's been through it, and so many people have had gaps, caretaking, all of that. Brenda, you're exactly right. Whatever she's brought to retail, I'm sure it's like, oh, let's move this display around. Easy things even, or easy for you. Sorry, I forgot who was asking the question. But thanks. Yeah. But the other thing that I wanted to say is, Brenda, I'm sure, has a post on this on Meller Marketing about how to set up a company page for your own business. You don't have to have a business. You don't need a license. You can just set up a company page in 5 minutes and put your caretaking and liaising with all of the healthcare professionals with getting your dad the care. And there are a lot of models on that on LinkedIn as well, if you feel you want to do it. I think you've got plenty under your retail. The third thing I would say, and then I'm done, is also mention the things that you're doing to keep up with marketing. And you're probably going to webinars. You get emails or newsletters from trades. I'm sure you have a network of people. So remind people how we're all staying current in our own field. So thanks for the opportunity to comment, Brenda.
Thank you.
Kenneth, you're up, sir.
I'm going to put on my Leac Harrison hat right now, which is the type of stuff I do with people that are in transition. And I will go to them and I'll say, what is the job you're looking for? Let's talk about a job title. And then I'll go into the jobs and I'll break it down by experience level. I'll break it down by industry and we'll look at job specs. And I'll say, have you done these things? You probably have. And I will say, how can you put those on your resume, your LinkedIn profile to put yourself in the best light? Because a lot of the skills are transferable, but you want to look at a job spec to get an idea as to what they're looking for. And a lot of times you find that the job titles don't even match what you're looking to do because different companies have different things. So I urge you in general, think about the job that you want. Go into jobs, break it down by location, break it down by experience level, look at the specs, and then say to yourself, aha, I've done this, but then how can I put that on my resume to put me in a better light? So that's kind of my 2 cents from a job search perspective, because I get this all the time in Leac Harrison. How do I know what to do, et cetera, et cetera? So sometimes you just have to think a little bit outside the box, and I love using LinkedIn as a search engine for that. So thanks a lot, Brenda.
Jennifer, I'm talking to you, but I really want this to be addressed to everybody on this call. The person we talk to the most on a daily basis is ourselves. And we know that most of those conversations are negative in nature. If you're looking for work, you can't be that way. You've got to be positive and upbeat, and you've got to change your language and your vocabulary. Instead of telling people that you had to come back to Detroit and take care of your father, say that you got to. You had the opportunity to come back and take care of your father and put a positive spin on it. And luckily you were able to do that. So at a minimum, right? So, and that starts you on a process of becoming positive and upbeat. And to what Brenda was saying and what Sue was saying, and even what Ken was saying, everything you're doing is going to help your job search if you put it in that perspective, if you put it in that light. If everything you're doing can help the next company in their marketing efforts, then what you're doing is not, quote unquote, a waste of time or beneath you. It's you building up your skill set so that the next company can benefit from what you've been doing for the last year and a half.
Thank you. That's really, really helpful. And
All
the
right.
good thing about this retail management job, I will say, is that I'm getting a direct level of management experience that I had not gotten in my other marketing roles, even though I was a director of marketing. But now in this retail management position, I'm like hiring people. I'm having to write people up, disciplinary actions, HR things, like things that I really hadn't had a chance to do in my previous career and my, marketing role. So it is good, like learning how to motivate a team.
Right.
So
You're turning this situation into an opportunity for you. And that's how you should be looking at it. And that's what you should be doing.
okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. And Jennifer, if I could ask you if you would be so kind, drop your LinkedIn URL into chat again. Since you come from a corporate marketing background, I come from a corporate marketing background as well. If I hear of any positions, I want to make sure that we're connected so I can forward those to you. And I'll make sure I visit you on LinkedIn and send you a quick message so you're at the top of my feed. And also maybe there's others on the call who might be hearing about opportunities to help you.
Oh,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on. Okay, so we're going to go Trisha and David, and I'm going to do a quick check on my calendar here. My next call is not till 11:30, so we will finish up with Trisha and David with their questions, and then we'll wrap up for today. So we might go a little bit over 11, but I'll just remind you, this is still being broadcast, I believe, on YouTube. It might have cut off when I left. I'm not sure. Sorry if it did, but at any rate, Trisha, what question do you have for us, and how can we help you?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for taking my question. And I'm sorry I didn't do my hair today, so I couldn't be on video with you. But I want to just talk a little bit now. This is my second time coming back to the Brenda Meller fold, if you will. I worked for BNY Mellon for the past couple of years. And I enjoyed that experience, and it was corporate, and I was in the engagement and communications area. So your comment actually that you just made about the marketing piece kind of piqued my interest a little bit, actually. But my question was a little bit about the LinkedIn profile and sort of, I have people say to me, you need to apply for like one type of job and you need to gear your resume towards that type of job and then just apply, apply, apply. But I apply for like more like 5 different types of jobs, like director of internal communications or vice president or assistant vice president. I do engagement. I do operational efficiency. You know, my background is I have a PhD in leadership for higher education, and I spent 25 years in higher education. So I've led departments, I've led building operations, I've led major initiatives, I've done change management, I've done technology changeovers. And so I'm almost at a point where I don't really know what my passion is anymore because I left higher ed and that was my passion. But I really enjoy working and I really enjoy achieving. And for those of you who are into Strengths Quest, if anybody out there is into those, my top 5 strengths are learner, responsibility, achiever, ideation, and relator. And so I really, you know, enjoy doing projects. And I thought about going for a PMP, but I guess this is a lot of information, maybe TMI, but I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of background as to why I sort of spread myself into multiple directions because I want to broaden opportunities. But I feel like this world of IT has been fantastic, but it's like such a big sea that I sometimes feel like this tiny little minnow because I haven't gotten any bites, you know,
Yeah.
from anybody who's not somebody that I know. And that's why I know networking is important, but at the same time, I don't know that many people, so I don't want to be unemployed.
I hear you. So Trisha, here's what I'm hearing from you and then seeing on your profile.
Yes.
And this is very common with people that are in career transition. You want to like put everything on the table in case
Yeah.
anybody finds something on there that they're like, oh, she can do this. And what happens when you put too much stuff out there, or you say that you can do a little bit of like everything, is that it becomes unclear what you're looking for, and then we don't know what to send to you. And it's the challenge is like the more succinct and clear you can be about what you're looking for, the more likely that that opportunity is going to come to you. The challenge right now that you're in is like, and the longer you're in a job search, the more, I don't want to say desperate you become, but the more like where you're like, well, I don't want to turn away anything. So I'm just going to tell them I can do anything. I can do any of these things. Here's the 25 things that I can do. And then we don't know what to refer opportunities to you, or somebody's coming to you and they're like, well, I'm not sure if she's qualified for this because this is this. It's a very niche type of an offering that we're looking for. So what I would do if I were you, Trisha, and I see Joey's raised his hand, we'll call on him next. What I would do if I were you, Trisha, is start when you look through job postings. If you have a printer at home, this is a even better thing. Like print up the job posting and highlight the things that are of interest to you. There's going to be some things on job descriptions where you're like, I don't really want to do that part, but like highlight the things that are of interest to you. And then start to look at what are the common themes that you're finding from job postings, and look at any job posting. Don't just look at what you've done in the past. You know, maybe you have an inkling to do something and start looking at those job postings as well. And you might start finding some things that are common denominators of what your dream job is. In addition, I think you do need to go out there with like, here's the 1 or 2 job titles that I'm really interested in. Knowing that that's for now, you can always tweak and focus on 2 different job titles in another, 1 to 3 months, like change the pace of that. But the more focused you can be, like right now, when I look at your profile, it looks like you're looking for a job title that would be Vice President of Engagement. Is that correct?
That's what my title, so that's what my title was at BNY Mellon, where I
Okay.
worked. And I just haven't, I didn't want to put the open to work and make it like internationally known. I just kept
Yeah.
what I'm currently at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't see, I guess that's the thing. It's like, it seems like it goes in cycles in terms of what's out there, you know, whether there are engagement jobs out there or if there are, you know, communications jobs out there. And it seems like the differences are so tiny and minor. And some
Yeah.
of the reasons why you don't get a job are so tiny and minor. And it's just like, oh, I hate to say it, but I'm just so over all that.
I hear you. I'm gonna ask you 2 questions, Trisha, and this is like
Yes.
throw the other possibilities on the table. One is, have you ever thought about consulting, working for yourself?
I have, but I kind of dismissed it right away because that's not really where my heart is. I find it harder to prioritize. I mean, I know it's not the doing the hard work piece as much as it is, it's almost like I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. If that makes any sense. Like I have a lot of leadership training and I enjoy presentations and I enjoy not really quite sales, but that, my top skill is learner, right? So like as
Okay.
an educator, I love being able to, share information and distill things down for people and help people sort of come to a conclusion. And I
Okay.
feel like that emanates to other things, but
Let me just jump in here, Trisha. What about, here's the other thing I see. You have a PhD. Have you looked at full-time faculty positions at colleges and universities?
Not really, because they tend to want one, they don't pay in the range that I want to remain at.
Okay.
And I have looked occasionally back at a higher ed. I actually just interviewed for a job, but I haven't heard from them in a week about moving on to round 2. So I'm thinking that might not be the case. And I just want to keep going. Like I don't want to sit still, like, and not do anything, in the search realm. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Well,
just
I'm
now
gonna ask
everything's
others
different.
if you have any other suggestions for Trisha, drop them in chat. But in the interest of time, Joey, I'm gonna ask if you have anything that you'd like to offer as advice or questions for Trisha.
It's dovetailing what you talked about, Brenda. Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there? You've got to be specific, laser beam focus, Trisha, because what happens
Yeah.
is no one can help you because they don't know what you want.
Well,
Right?
can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
And I agree. I understand why you're saying that. And so part of it is I am interested in a lot of jobs that fall under talent development, but I don't have like an HR background. And I have so many people say, "Oh, but I've done almost everything HR, like in terms of supervising large staffs, understanding all the EEOC laws, hiring people." So the talent acquisition piece, the hiring, the firing, understanding those laws. I understand all of that. And obviously the talent development piece is a big part of where my heart is at. But I don't even get interviews for those jobs. And I don't know if it's because HR is so competitive or if they're just so like narrow-minded or if I'm not strategic enough, but it just kind of drives me a little crazy because my background is so aligned, having spent 25 years operating in that environment where you're developing
Trisha?
talent. Yes.
So VP talent development was the role that you're looking for?
Yeah, or even director of talent development or
Okay, let me
assistant
give
vice
you
president.
a suggestion. I
Okay.
want you to go out onto LinkedIn and look for people who work in a role of VP talent development or that director of talent development. Connect
Okay.
with them.
Mhm.
Ask if they would be open to an informational interview with you. And during that time, ask, look at their profile in advance, but also ask if they'd be open to looking at your profile. And if you were looking for a job title as a VP of talent development, what is standing out to them?
Okay.
Okay. Instead of going through HR, because you're not going to get a recruiter to give you any of that feedback. But if you can find somebody who's in the role,
Yeah.
I think it's going to help
Okay.
you twofold. One is you're going to get real feedback from somebody who works in the role that's going to say this is what
Yeah.
people are looking for. Two is you're going to be building up a network with people who work in the role, and they may be approached for opportunities and not want to move, but they might say, my new connection, Trisha's looking for this. Do you want to talk to her?
Okay.
Trisha,
Cool.
you also said you've been doing this for 25 plus years. Is that what you said? Something like that?
Yeah, I worked in higher education for 25 years, and all of that time, part of that cycle is every year you hire, every year you evaluate, train, like the training depths, you create conferences. Yeah, all of that stuff is developing talent.
Okay, so hold
in the
on.
kind of field that I was in.
Trisha, hold on. Trisha, 25 years. You said you don't know anybody. 25 years.
But I did
met
it in higher education, right? But I did it in
Trisha, you know a lot of people, Trisha, who have
Right.
nothing to do with what you're talking about, but they know people that probably do. And you need to go back into your network that you have that's personal to you and reach
Okay.
out to people you haven't spoken to in 20 years and
Okay.
rekindle those relationships and find out who knows somebody that you don't know who can help you.
Okay.
Brenda,
I-
let me just real quick add, it's just Paul. Listen, Tricia,
Mhm.
I've got a bunch of ideas in my book on ways to help you figure out what do you want to be when you grow up. But one of the things that my clients have found helpful today is for them to write out their own job description. What is that ideal job description that you would want? What are the skills you want to be using? What are the tasks you want to be doing? What is the education requirements and expectations? Write that job description for yourself and then say, okay, where can I find that job? And look at it from that perspective. Hopefully that's helpful. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you both. I appreciate your time and your input very much.
All right. Thanks for being on the call with us today, Tricia. We appreciate it. All right. I think there was one more question. Yes, David Solis, I believe, is going to be our last final question for today. David, how can we help you?
Hi, Brenda, and I'm in a very noisy area. I don't know if it's overwhelming. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you okay. Yep.
Okay, I appreciate it. I know we're over time. I'm 10 months in the market from a layoff back in November of last year, B2B event marketer. And my question is, it's a pretty tactical question, probably common question, but it's interesting. I'm taking an interview on Monday. It's through a recruitment agency for a part-time role, even though I'm looking for full-time employment. The role is in line, to title I'm looking for. However, after the recruiter reached out to me, oddly enough, the same company uh, posted a similar role, or same role, directly on LinkedIn for full time. So it was just an odd sequence of events. And so now that and that same person who posted from the company on LinkedIn is the same person who was sitting in on the interview on Monday for the part-time. How do I navigate that scenario to get in on the full-time role? It's kind of a weird scenario because the recruiter didn't. I asked initially with the recruiter, are there full-time opportunities?
Yeah.
And she said no.
Okay, so I mean, honestly, what I would do, David, is I would print up the job posting that you're seeing on LinkedIn, and then print it up so you have documentation in case it is an error and they delete it out or something, but print it up, put it into a PDF on your desktop or something. Grab the link, and if you want to trying to stay in good graces with the recruiter, message the link to them and say, hey, it looks like they might be opening up to full-time because I just saw this job posting on here. Would you be the person that I should put my interest in for a full-time, or should I apply through this link? Now, I know what the recruiter is going to say is, no, I'll work this for you because they want to get their commission from it. But you want to let them know that you see that there's a full-time opening for the position and you want to give it as a courtesy. You're working through the recruiter for this. That's what I would do, David. What do you think about that?
Exactly, because the recruiter, they want to go through themselves. That's how they get their
Yeah,
commission.
they're maybe the recruiter's not being paid a commission for the full-time role. So if they are not going to be able to submit you for the full-time role, then you apply through the link on LinkedIn for it. And then when you're interviewing, you make sure that you bring it up in conversation so that the hiring manager that you're meeting with is clear that you're looking for full-time and that you saw the full-time role on LinkedIn and you asked the recruiter and they said that you don't need to apply for it because you've already applied. So make it known to people. Don't, I feel like sometimes we're trying to be nice and respectful, but like come end of the day, the recruiters may only be being paid for the part-time role and he's not, or she is not getting paid for the full-time role. So they have no vested interest in supporting you in that. They are getting paid by the employer. They're not getting paid for by you. You need to look out for yourself, you know? So sometimes I think we tippy toe around these things because we don't want to offend the recruiter, but you need a job, David, and you want a full-time job, right? So
Right. No, and the thing is, if I want to go directly with the company, I don't want my rate uh, uh, chopped by going through an agency. Obviously, I want to go directly to the company too. I
yeah,
don't want to go through another middleman, you know. So exactly. So it's just kind of a wonky situation. Not to mention, why is the company suddenly posting the same position and still and having a recruiter? You know, it's just an odd. And I've seen this. I think a lot of us job seekers have seen this happen. It's confusing,
yeah.
right? So
Just again, I want everyone to remember recruiters do not work for you as a job seeker. Yes, you can make friends with them and you can be friendly with them, but you are not paying them. The employers are paying them when they fill a position. So they're going to be driven by activities that help them to get that goal met. They are not going to be driven by being a good Samaritan and helping you out of the goodness of your heart. I mean, they don't work for you. There's not, and people come to me all the time and say, "Can you find me a headhunter that can find me a job?" Well, they don't get paid by you, they get paid by the companies. So just keeping that in mind. And I want to point to again the all-stars that are on the call here. You know, people like Mindy and Linda and Sue already dropped off. Diana, who's on the call as well. I want to encourage you, like you can continue to work with them to get some career guidance, you know, on the different services that they offer. They work for you. The recruiters work for the companies. So I appreciate that you brought this up, David, because there's probably other people that are encountering the same thing. The recruiter's telling them one thing and they're seeing something else. The recruiter saying it's only part-time. You find a job posting that says it's full-time. The recruiter is being rewarded for fulfilling a part-time role, not fulfilling the full-time role. So just make sure that when you're speaking with that hiring manager, that they are aware that you saw and that you're interested in the full-time opportunity and you're interested in that. Does that help you, David?
it does. In fact, that's exactly what I was going to do in the
Yeah.
conversation on Monday. That I'm absolutely looking at, you know, interested in the full time opportunities, and so yeah, exactly. So thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, David. And we're going to start to wrap this up for today. I see Mindy, you've raised your hand. Did you, and Linda raised your hand as well. Do you want to add some final comments here? I'll pull both of you up on screen here.
Yes, just to add for for David to know, and anyone else who's on the call, recruiters do not necessarily have all of the jobs in that specific company. They have been assigned certain jobs to hire for. Okay, so this particular recruiter, it's not necessarily that they're hiding it from you, but they may not even be aware of those other jobs. They are focused on, let's say they're given 100 jobs to work on. That's the 100 jobs that they need to fill to make their salaries. So don't feel badly about having that conversation during your interview. You're fortunate to have that interview, that you are definitely open to full-time employment. And don't assume that recruiters know everything about the company. They certainly do not. They know exactly what the company has hired them to do. Does that make sense, David?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thanks.
Absolutely. Just have a great dialogue. Always, you know, when you're so fortunate to get to that interview stage, make sure it's more of a dialogue where you're having conversations with them to make sure it's a good fit for you. It's not just you answering a barrage of questions. Just be very mindful of that. And I wish you all the best.
Okay, I'm going to add just a couple of quick little pieces as well. First is that if this is an internal recruiter, then the internal recruiter is absolutely open to you going ahead and talking about the job, making it a full-time role, and apply for that full-time role. If you've only been working with the internal recruiter, apply for that full-time role as well. Now, sitting on the other side of the desk as that company recruiter, I will tell you that some companies have a problem. If you are applying for one job through an external recruiter and another job, even as similar as it is, through an internal recruiter or through the internal portal, because what it does for some of them is it raises legal questions. As the company going to be required to pay for your hire for that external recruiter, even though you didn't apply for that job through them? So do be careful with that. So that's why I recommend that you mention it in the internal conversations with the company during your interview. That's the best way in that particular case. And then the last piece is, don't apply for the job directly on LinkedIn. Go directly to the company website to apply. It gets there much faster. We know that the company gets a chance to really see it and gets dinged or gets a ping saying there's a new application that came in. It's a much faster, much easier way for you to make sure that your application gets there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Okay, so wrapping up here today, I want to thank our All-Stars for being with us here. I want to thank all of you for making this a part of your Friday. I wrote something on LinkedIn today. I wish I could remember where it was, but somebody said, look in the mirror and smile for 10 seconds at yourself. So I'm going to give all of you a challenge. We're not going to do this right now, but I want you to do that at some point today, right after the call if you can. Go look in the mirror, close the bathroom door because your family members are going to go, what is she doing in there? Is she crazy? Close the bathroom door and smile at yourself for 10 seconds. Set a timer so you know it's 10 seconds. They said it does something to your psychology that helps to impact your mood in a positive way. So give that a try. It's going to be my little challenge for you. I do also want to remind you, this looks like it did go in its entirety on YouTube. So you should be able to find the link out there. And you can also download the chat before you leave here today in case you want to visit some of these links and connect with people later. To download the chat, go to the top of your chat. You should see 3 dots and then click on Save Chat. When I do that, it says Chat Saved, Show in Folder, and I can click on my folder. For me, it goes into my Downloads area. So you should be able to access that. Again, if you want to get the full transcript of all of the chat from today, you'd be able to do so. And with that said, I want to thank everyone so much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. And remember, we'll be here the first Friday of the month. I don't know what the first Friday is in September, but the first Friday of the month from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I want to thank all of you for making this a part of your day. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. Thank you.
September 6th.
September 6th. Awesome.
Hasta la
Thank you for that.
vista, baby. Ciao.
Thank you.